All right, so now we're live. All right, peace, peace, peace to the family.
Yeah,
This
hey
is
guys.
Brandon Dixon. All right, and you're tuned into the Power of Ownership podcast here on. I see we're live. I got the notification. So, all right, so we're live on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Facebook, all of the outlets. So let's go and get started. Let introduce myself. I'm Brandon B. Dixon. I got my co-host Stephen Contreras in the building.
Yeah, hey guys, how are you doing?
This is your first one of 2021, right?
Yeah, it is. I apologize for the 2 week vacation.
Yeah, no doubt. It still keeps rolling. So let's go ahead with the introduction in case the people this is the first time tuning in. My name is Brandon B. Dixon. I'm a published author, serial entrepreneur, mortgage broker. My book, Sales: The Nucleus of Any Profession, is out right now on Amazon. It's on sale, so go ahead and get your copy. Um, I specialize in first-time home buyers building wealth through real estate, so on and so forth, and sales training. So that's kind of my specialty. Let's go ahead. Let Stephen introduce himself. Let's promote a little bit, and then let's go ahead and start the show.
Yeah, hey guys, Stephen Contreras here. I'm a geologist in Houston, Texas, kind of like a Renaissance man, studier of the arts and sciences, and trying to spread peace and love and happiness everywhere I go. Trying to show the world it's a better place to be than the place where people usually are. So, it's a little bit about me.
Gotcha. So this to introduce the Power of Ownership podcast. We talk about not only ownership of properties and businesses and stuff like that, but we talk about intellectual properties. Also, we dig a little bit deeper. We talk about ownership of the mind, body, and soul, bridging the gap between the seen and the unseen realm, and bring things into fruition. So we're a little bit different show, a hybrid show. A lot of people enjoy us, especially on the audio, but we need more people to go ahead and start following us on the YouTube and the Facebook. And what I'm gonna do, I will be hiring probably a specialist to actually do my thumbnails and stuff like that to get more. I've actually done absolutely nothing with the YouTube and stuff like that. I just posted. I did any keywords or anything like that. So I'm gonna have to start getting on that. Just running out of time. So let's go ahead and start the show off with a little bit of promotion. First of all, if you like what we're doing, Cash App us, $ the Power of Ownership. Any donations would be great. If you like what we're doing, you like the message and everything like that, go ahead and hit the Cash App. Also, Stephen has his own Cash App, Stephen C1234 on Cash App. Also, I'm a mortgage broker by trade, so mortgage is what I do. If you're in Texas, Louisiana, or Georgia, and Florida and California is coming real soon, so you could hit my website. It's up right now, www.applywithb, if you want to go ahead and get started. Also, if you want to book me for sales training, motivational speeches, like Steve and I, we talk at the schools a lot, elementary schools, junior high, high schools. You want to do motivational speeches, go ahead, book us. Or you can book me, www.billionaireloanofficer.com. You want us to do any speeches, motivational speeches, so on and so forth. Want us to talk to the kids, so on and so forth. Call me, 832-775-8357. You call me 24/7. Also, I'm at Billionaire Loan Officer on all social media. Stephen is Stephen _ let me find it here. Stephen _ Contreras _ 90 on all social media. On Instagram, and it's Stephen Contreras on Facebook. All right, gotcha. And then I got to give a big shout out to our first and new sponsor. So it's new and first. www.houstonCondoSales.com. So if you want to get a condo in the Houston area, it's a site that's by Houstonians for Houstonians or future Houstonians. So get the inside scoop. You plan on moving to Houston. Houston Condo Sales is the best site to get going. Get your mortgage, get you somebody to show you around, the whole nine. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the show today. All right. So I've been watching, with the transition I've been going on. Oh, let me say this, by the way, before I really get cracking. Couple of announcements. We got the big sponsor Also, I recently got my broker's license, so I'm about to be building out a team. I actually switched with the biggest lender in the United States now, Loan Depot. Um, I'm gonna be building out my team, so I'm gonna be looking for loan officer assistants, junior loan officers. I'm gonna be looking for junior loan officers on the sales side. I'm gonna be looking for junior loan officers or LOAs on the ops side as well, and some junior processors and some processors. So I'm gonna be building a whole team. So if you want to hit my inbox on any social media, just DM me, or you can send your resume to Brandon at hocmortgage.com. Brandon at hocmortgage.com if you want to join the team. So I forgot to mention that. So a lot of things coming. I want to make that announcement this week, and I got another announcement coming next week, a big power move announcement. So before I was what I was saying, let's get into the show. I've been watching during this transition because I've been doing a lot of work, a lot of Kevin Samuels material. And those who don't know, if you're not familiar with Kevin Samuels, he's a YouTuber. He's an image consultant and a matchmaker, so on and so forth. So I've been listening to a lot of his shows on Instagram and on Facebook and YouTube. So the main thing I'm seeing a lot of people, especially like millennials 30 on down, is that we're lacking emotional intelligence, emotional IQ. And I wanted to talk about that today, like emotional intelligence, emotional IQ, and then I wanted to give a solution of emotional alchemy. That's one of the solutions that I have, and we want to talk about all of that stuff. But most of the time, men, we don't like to deal with emotions. So we most of the time we suck at it. We kind of play it to the left and stuff like that. Especially with Stephen, you speaking for the millennials. So how to break down like millennial from a millennial point of view, emotions, emotional IQ, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's all really changed since you were younger, Brandon, for sure. The whole world's a little different. But
Right.
yeah, I'd say millennials and people who are younger, they have a hard time communicating emotionally with, especially with other people, their social skills. And I think it has a lot to do with technology and just interaction. I think it's actually kind of two sides of the coin, because I also believe like our brains have been evolving too. So like you just mentioned, the generations before us, the men have been kind of like less emotional because they were never not taught how to be emotional beings. And I guess one good thing about the millennial generation is we can access our left and right brain a lot easier than previous generations, so we can tap into our emotional IQ. But the problem is this technology kind of drains that aspect of it, I believe, because we don't get out there and really harness our emotional IQ. But I do think millennials in general have a stronger emotional tie, and that's why you see a lot of like the me stuff, is because a lot of people can't channel how to handle their emotional IQ because it's kind of running rampant because no one's ever taught them.
Well, I think, especially with your generation, I think it started in my generation with Gen X. Uh, Toward the latter part of Gen X, the 80s generation, the 80s on down as far as the Gen X. But as far as the millennials is concerned, I think what happened is, we got parked in front of the TV and the video games, and less going outside, less social interaction, less playing, with neighborhood guys and neighborhood gals and stuff like that. I remember as a kid, I was in a mixed neighborhood, and one of my first friends was a Caucasian little girl,
Hmm.
and I used to go by her house and eat, and same with her, and that was one of my first memories as a being, is going in our house. So we used to go in neighbors' houses and play and go outside and play in their yard and stuff like that. So we started off with some of my first memories was socializing and being a social and a communal being. I think what happened with the millennials is that their first interactions was video games and technology, like you said, the interface with technology instead of interfacing with real humans. So I think with emotional intelligence, it comes from reading another person and dealing with another person's emotions, not and knowing your own. So the definition of people skills is knowing yourself and knowing people and knowing that person where you could taper your reactions accordingly. So if I know Steven is a hothead and I come with him with a sarcastic joke, I already know how he's going to take it.
Yeah.
You know, so I probably wouldn't, you know, come at him with a sarcastic joke because I already know that he could be triggered. That's people skills. Knowing your audience, knowing that person temperature, and then tapering your responses and tapering your interface with them accordingly. That's people skills. But a lot of them, if you hadn't had that through, and then you're constantly watching somebody else live through video games or living intravenously through video games or watching somebody on YouTube and Instagram, you don't have that real live time split second decision making on how to come at somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Does that make sense? So what happens is your socialization, your social skills has atrophied. You know, it's like when you don't work out. You know, the muscles get, you know, or you sit down for a long time, or you're bedridden for a long time. Your muscles contain atrophy. You know, it starts. You know, they start dwindling down. Your bones and stuff like that. It get weaker. Same thing with your emotional intelligence. You know, it gets weaker over the years if you don't use it. You don't use it, you're gonna lose it.
Yeah. And I think it is important for especially younger kids to get outside and work on those social skills. You know, because we weren't thrown in front of the TVs and the video games and everything like that. You know, it wasn't until I guess because I was a big gamer when I was younger. I did sports and I played video games, and I had friends and everything like that. But it wasn't until I was probably 18, 19 that I started working as I guess a server and a bartender that I really started to interact with random people and people I didn't know. And I think that's a really strong skill set for people to develop. And like you said, like in my generation now, you don't see it very much anymore because you only have your like close niche friends that you interact with, you know, maybe 5 people, 6 people, and most people can't interact randomly with other people. And I think that is actually a pretty significant problem.
Right. And I mean, and you made a perfect point. And I want to go over that on the solutions point. The last portion of the show is that's a great solution that I would say anybody. And I've even told my daughter this because my daughter is more of an introvert. Is that if you want to develop these social skills and this emotional intelligence and this emotional IQ, I would say get into either a waiter, bartender, or sales job. You know, even if your career is behind the desk, you know, or like some type of admin, still while you're in high school or while you're in college, get you a bartender, waiter, or sales job where you have to wait on people, and that will give you that skill, the repetition on being more socially, have your social skills strengthened, you know, become stronger. And you could take those and you can interact with people in your office and your family members, and that'll make that even stronger. I think the problem would happen is, especially with a lot of people, you know, I've got family members and I got friends that's just like that. They went straight from high school into like an isolation job, like a trucker or with something where they, you know, a mechanic or something where they don't have to interact with people. You know, and that hinders them because when you deal with certain situations, you're going to resort back to your training, and if you don't have any training, you're gonna freeze. You're gonna be like a deer in the headlight, and your reaction is going to be the reptilian brain, which is fight or flight. You see what I'm saying? So you're not gonna know how to deal with the situation if you don't have that training. Yeah. And so that's what most people resort to. They go back to that reptilian brain, and it's always a fuss. It's an argument. It's, you know, or they run away from it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, in general, I think men overall run away from their emotions.
Right.
They just the programming teaches men not to be emotional beings, and I don't think that's correct. Like
Right,
that usually tends to other problems of like being violent or angry because they don't know how to handle their emotions because no one's
right,
ever taught them.
right,
And it really is because that even dampers your social skills. If like you said, if you can't take a joke, then you're angry. Then like your emotional IQ would be like a I guess what like a I don't know a June bug or something like that compared to like a butterfly.
right, right,
Like so you have to keep on training, and I think it is really hard for men, especially nowadays. I think it's getting a little better, just overall, but I mean still, and I think it took like I think probably what 20, maybe 50, 60 years for people to understand that the emotional sides of humans are important too.
Well, us enlightened beings understand the emotion. We understand the balance. But most people, like you said, the programming you're taught to be on one side and not the other, and the true growth is in between. Um, and you're going to have to deal with it, especially in the age of Aquarius. You're going to have to deal with these emotions, and you're going to have to be smart about it, because again, it's more feminine energy coming into the workforce and to society as a whole, and you're going to have to deal with that particular um, that gender fluidity that's coming around. So you can't be hard knock and run from everything, and then now you're going to be a hermit. You're going to be Amazon, as an Uber Eat guy that doesn't interact with anybody, doesn't socially interact with anybody, and that's kind of where some people are going if they don't adapt to what's going on right now. So emotional intelligence is, back to the joke scenario, is that, hey, I understand, let's say I'm Steve, I'm gonna put myself in your shoes for a second. I understand, instead of being an a-hole, I understand that Brandon likes to joke. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a fake smile and a fake laugh, the humor, to make him feel good. That's people skills, and that's emotional intelligence. Understanding that people are it's empathy, putting yourself in people's shoes and treating people like how you want to be treated.
Yeah, and like you said too, like I think that's really important, that the empathy and being able to interact socially like that with people and being able to read their moods and their adjustments. Because if you, that's what makes us human, or is those type of things. And so when you see people not interacting with an actual human, especially like right, I mean, people are in school. I mean, in Texas, they're in school, the kids and everything, but a lot of people all around the world haven't been able to interact normally for over a year,
Right.
almost over a year. And so where I'm trying to go with this is, if you don't interact with people face to face, you don't, your brain doesn't, especially when you're younger, your brain doesn't develop being able to read people's emotions by just their facial expressions. Because you can read people's emotions very well just off how they move their eyes, their lips, their nose. You can tell how they're feeling by how they move their eyebrows, like etc. And I think that's a really important skill that a lot of people actually lack too because they don't actually interact face to face.
Right. Well, I mean, with that being said, most people, that's where the ego gets out of control. They don't take the time to learn anybody else's, and it's all about me, 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 me. Everybody has to bend and waver to what I got going, and that's where you get socially banned. You get socially blacklisted when you're that type of person. A lot of people egotistical. They don't know that they're egotistical. They don't know that they're selfish, emotionally selfish. You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and they become nomads. They, one social group rejects them to another social group, and they become isolated.
Mhm.
You see
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, I never thought about it like that. Maybe that's why the egotistical man actually, it gets worse when you are in isolation in that nomad state. 'Cause you have nowhere to turn to, and then you try to turn to yourself, but you just become more egotistical.
Right. That's why
Makes
the
sense.
maximum security prison is solitary. That's the worst thing you could do to a person because we're communal beings. And so most people with the ego, you become a prisoner based on your own ego. You run everybody away, and you become in solitary confinement mentally. You mentally alchemize the situation where you become a prisoner.
Isn't that I think that's a big law of karma too, honestly, because
Right.
if you don't realize what you're doing and then finally like, yes, it's just me by myself, in the end, that's what you wanted subconsciously, correct?
Right. Right. Well, you didn't know, not knowing that the world, it does and it doesn't. The world does revolve around you. It's all about you. But at the same time, look at the frequency. The heart chakra, don't forget, is in the body. The heart chakra now, it once that's activated, that goes outward, and then you got to bring it back in. So it's that Taurus field, and I know I'm losing a couple of people, but it's a paradox. Is yes, that it's all about growth and development, but you only could grow through relationships. That's
Yeah.
why you have relationships with, especially the opposite sex, is to see your flaws and to work on your flaws and to grow and to become a better person and become that's why they say relationships is the university of you. That's when that's the collegiate level of studying yourself, when you're in a relationship.
Yeah, because if you're in a good relationship, it's not about you anymore. It's about the
Right.
individual.
You're learning how to share and morph into one person
Hmm.
for the first time.
Yeah.
So that's on a collegiate level. And most people, if you hadn't had relationships, not only relationships as far as intimate relationships, but relationships on all levels. There's work relationships. There's friendship relationships. There's neighborly relationships. All of them have different levels and different type of attributes. But if your relationship skills suck, and it all comes down to your emotional IQ. You
Yeah.
know, not, so and you have to know how to read people. You have to put yourself in people's shoes. You have to actively listen. You can't, all of these things. Also, I want to let's switch the script a little bit and go into solutions. And a lot of our people are business people. So how does this relate to business? Everywhere, especially if you're a CEO, you don't want to be isolated. You don't want to be where everybody hates you. You're that dictator. Fear is one thing. Fear is effective, but that's only going to take you so far. But would you rather? Some people would rather be feared than respected.
Yeah.
But again, a weak leader gets shot in the back.
Oh, for sure. I know. I was going to say too, like if you are a CEO or a CFO or running a company or your own business, like talk to your employees. That's one thing at my previous job they didn't understand the inner workings of like the field workers or understanding the management and everyone in the whole hierarchy. If you're a leader, go and communicate, socialize. And I do think a lot of the higher ups, that's what the higher ups, the upper management in most companies, I think they do understand these kinds of things because, I mean, it's hard to BS your way all the way to the top, without having those social skills. Yeah.
Well, I think what people fall off at, especially on the upper management level, is that they don't take the time to learn everybody. And I understand some companies get so big you can't, if you got 4,000 or 5,000 employees, you can't learn everybody, but you could at least assign people like your middle management, and that's their job to learn everybody. And then you could have that relationship with your middle management guys and your upper management guys if you're a CEO. That makes sense, Steve?
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
So, that's basically. I want to get into one other solution. I want to get what works best for me because I've been in middle management, upper management. I've been a CEO. I'm so on and so forth. I'm working my way back to that level. This is a step in the right direction. We'll get the broker license and going on, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. It's all coming to fruition. I had a game plan, but as a CEO and as upper management and middle management, what worked effectively for me is to alchemize my emotions. And everybody is hot and cold. It just is what it is. Everybody has bad days. Everybody has good days.
Mhm.
If something triggers you, the best thing is a couple of things: is to either alchemize that energy, take that energy and morph it into something else. Think of a funny joke. Think of something that makes you smile, and use that energy that you're going to flow out anyway, and use for something productive or positive. Or start fresh. Stop it and do it. Take a break and reset yourself. Reboot your computer. Because what most people do is they take that trigger from one person and let it carry on the whole day,
Yeah.
and it ruins the whole day.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, I would like to speak to that because, like, I think that is important. Being
right,
able to not have those outside actions affect your emotional state. I like to think about it as like protons, neutrons, and electrons. The
right,
nucleus, and like, you want to be solid in your nucleus so nothing can like penetrate your shield. And that's how I try to teach people with their shield of being able to have a shield of positivity around yourself so nothing negative can actually affect your life. And if you live by that principle, you can actually move mountains because nothing can stop you.
right. And as positive as I am, there are certain things that deep down still triggers me. And your tonality when you're talking to the next customer or talking to the next person can carry over, and that's emotional intelligence, knowing yourself as well. Now if you're not aware of it and you're going, that's a part of this emotional IQ, emotional intelligence. You have to reset yourself, and some of the best ways to reset yourself is take a small break, throw some, wash your face and throw some cold water on your face. Sing a song that makes you happy. Think about, stop and watch a 2 minute skit of a comedy sketch on YouTube to make yourself laugh. Stop and reboot yourself, and then go to the next customer or the next situation. Because what happens is if you let that fester, it could cascade, it could domino, and it could be something more tragic. And it took me a long time to realize that. So this is good advice. you know,
Yeah,
they,
sure. Mhm.
so reset yourself. Even go take a lap around. Go get some fresh air. Take a lap around outside or something. Breathe. Do some breathing techniques. My Apple Watch just just signified me, hey, breathe.
Yeah.
So breathing techniques, meditation, a couple of minutes of meditation, all of that stuff. Reset yourself, and then go to the next customer, go to the next person. Don't let it fester. Um, any last thing, any last solutions as far as to how to heighten your emotional IQ and emotional intelligence, or deal with certain situations better emotionally?
I think everyone's on different levels of emotional states. Some people are born with being an empath. Being able
Empath,
to,
yeah.
yeah. And so I believe in all that stuff. People could be born with like an emotional IQ of a one. It just depends on the individual. So I would say just putting yourself in uncomfortable situations sometimes can help. Meditating always helps. Exercising helps. Breathing helps. All these things that to see clarity in our emotions, because the person who can master their emotions masters the universe. And I really do believe this because if you can master yourself and your emotional state, it affects everything that you do. And like I say, meditating really helps. Talking about your problems with people, I feel like that's a big one because everyone they carry this burden of an emotional shield, like a like I guess like a almond nut or a peanut or something, and they just keep it deep inside, and that can be real destructive. You have to talk to people about these things, especially if you're not feeling yourself or if you're depressed or things like that, anxiety, all these negative emotions, because a lot of people don't know how to handle it, and they keep it buried in, and it's real destructive. So try to talk to people about your emotions. I think that was lost in the last few generations. People didn't like to talk about it. And so just breathing, meditating, talking, being around good people, all these things, exercise helps develop your emotional state.
Right. I mean, yeah, all of the above. Also, seek therapy. Like I said, we invest in personal trainers for the body. We invest in all of these flat tummy teas and all of these, supplements for the body. But what about for your mind, your emotional training, and your emotional fitness? So we need to invest in therapy and stuff like that. If you're going through like anything, or you're lacking emotional intelligence. So I would say, get it. A lot of people are scared to take chances as far as relationship. There's no 100% safe relationship. All of it's going to take, it's a risk involved with everything. So you got to take chances and stuff like that. And everything wants to be the one. Everybody want to be one and done. Everybody want everything perfect. But it's going to be, the universe is going to make it perfect for you. You're going to have to deal with certain things, and it is what it is. So again, we're at the 30 mark. So
All right.
let's go ahead and wrap it up. Again, let's go ahead and take you out real quick. Steve, his Instagram, go ahead, follow him. It's Steven_Contreras_90. Shout out to our sponsor. Go ahead, hit this website right now, especially if you're looking at a condo, HoustonCondoSales.com. It's our sponsor. Also follow me at Billionaire Loan also on all social media. Hit me on the DM, or you can call me 24/7, 832-775-8357. If you want to book me for sales consultation, sales training, motivational speeches, one-on-one training, billionaireloanofficer.com. Also, you want to apply for a mortgage right now. You want to take advantage of these record lows, record lower interest rates, www.applywithb.com. Last thing, if you like what we're doing, go ahead and hit us up on the Cash App, the Power of Ownership. And Stephen has his own, Stephen1234. Stephen C at 1234. So we're gonna go ahead and take you out. Don't forget that God is a verb, and personal responsibility is your only savior. And with that, I'm gonna say peace.